say that. What am I thinking here? I think we will get a pass pawn, so a very locked up game here. I think we get a pass pawn, we take here, if they take back, we take with the king, keeps the king off this square, we can start to push forward. I hope that's it. Don't want to start off with a wrong one. Okay. Phew. That's all we needed to do. This one, I see we are in check, so that's going to need to be the first thing. I think king here is better than anything. Well, the only other alternative is block there, lose the bishop straight away. So king here. Okay. A lot of gimmies early doors, which is great. This one, a very common theme you see in these opening 10-15 puzzles, a back rank mate, whereby the king has no escape square. This one does look promising, but a long range bishop, which we come across a lot in these puzzles. They're very surreptitious. You might not necessarily see them coming, but you know, if they're 3 squares away or 8 squares away, they do damage all the same. This one, queen backed up by the bishop here, right in the knight's grill, nowhere for the king to go. And now again I see, look, there's temptation here. We've got the queen and the rook here. Temptation to go just for that f pawn, but enough defense there. Gonna change the point of the attack to queen down here. Rook will block once and exactly once. Okay, next up we have a bishop that can't go anywhere. Bishop is pinned to the king, but that doesn't mean it's useless, because I think queen here, king's only retreat square is also going to be on this dark diagonal, which will be covered. Even though that bishop is pinned, it still can provide defense. It still can do its job, particularly with like check, because it was something I struggled with when I was getting to grips with chess. Was you know, if I move my queen here, there's check there that's being backed up by this bishop, but the queen can obviously take this bishop with check, but it doesn't matter. The first check is the one that gets to be dealt with. What helped me through that sort of mental block was, when you're in check, and again the rules won't let you do anything else, but mentally to think about it is, if the rules did allow you to, like if they did take my bishop and they were in check, then I would just take the king on the next go, which would win me the game. But a weird thing there about just like, yeah, pinned pieces still doing a job is one that can sometimes be overlooked by me in chess. This one now, I feel like we really only do have this queen in the attack, and they've got, you know, decent resources back here, but massive exposure, I would say. I think it might just be the case that we just win this bishop here, because if I clear these lines, I see queen here check, only response is this, rook there check, then across here is going to be check again, rook here, which I don't know why they wouldn't just move the rook back across actually. Let's find out. I don't think any of other pieces can get in the game. The knight and the 2 rooks, they're a little bit out of action. Are they though? They do have a little something going on here. I think first is going to be this. I do like this. Take a pawn there. I feel like that's best, really. Nothing majorly alternative coming to mind. Block there with the queen. Again, I'm not sure why rook didn't come across there. Maybe because pawn up there means that they won't be able to take back, and then we'll take this bishop. Yep. Okay. Yeah. A nice little brain teaser early on. This one a little bit simpler, I think, is gonna be queen here. Maybe? Queen here, king can only go here. Then queen here will be mate. Yeah, I think that's it. So, in here, make sure you're getting protected by that bishop. And then again, keep the protection of the bishop. And make sure you're staying out of the knight's grubby little pawns. This one, a move like that, pawn move like that, you always want to be looking for the direct access to the king, which in this case is going to be very devastating because it's going to be this, and then it's going to be this. That was a little bit quick. I didn't quite check for alternative action. This one, I think, again, a lovely open file for the king. I think rook across here. There's a block with the knight. There's two blocks with the queen, but neither of them defend each other. So I think we can power through there. Nice. Okay, first 10 done. Now is when we start to get into some tricky territory. So here, I always find these ones a little tricky when you're starting out by defending a check. I guess we could start to look at where we can avoid checks. Sometimes in a game, I find that, you know, this is kind of the most attractive one for me. But when it's an endgame like this, sometimes I'm a little bit cautious of, yes, you want to get your king in the game, but basically as an extra attacking piece. The longer into the game you go, the fewer other pieces are available for mates. The more your king can also do a bit of attacking himself. However, sometimes you can get a little boxed in. In this case, I think we should be okay. I think we've got enough to keep him safe in there. And then here, we don't want to go back here. That's just going to be another defense. And I think after this, queen doesn't have any great checks. Anything we can do? I'll probably promote here. And then, yeah, we've got ample time to stop that flying pawn on the H file. Or A file, as it may have been. Next one up, we have, in terms of attacking resources, it's mainly this queen and this bishop. I have a feeling bishop in here is check. Won't be able to block like that, so only move. There is toast. They shouldn't do that, so they will do this, and then here's mate. Great. Nice. Okay, something about this is telling me that it's going to be a kind of like trading down and then using these two pawns that we have spare just to leg them up the board. Taking here was my first instinct, but actually, I think even just pushing there, king is going to back that up. No great way for them to be defended. King will have to go here, or oh, if it does go there, that's great actually, because yeah, no, we're good. This one, then if bishop takes the knight, that was check, and if bishop takes, king takes, and then we've got those two pawns legging it down the board unopposed, or opposed by the king, but it was fine. We've got enough to deal with it. Alright, next one. What am I seeing? What do I see before me? I see a king in trouble. Not in trouble. Very safe, actually, but with a puzzle brain, you do start to see some back rank threats. I see this as a fork on my rooks. So this might just be a defensive one. And that defense, I think, is going to look like rook across here. And the reason that one knight won't be able to just take there is because this would be mate. So this rook will take here, and then our rook across here is also going to threaten either taking the knight, or if the knight moves, we mate again. So that's going to be it. And then yeah, we just take the knight. They have to move that G pawn just to salvage a chance, just to make sure that they're not completely on the back foot. Opening ones. For openings, you always, or for these puzzles, especially in the opening side of things, anytime that F pawn is missing, yeah, you definitely have a couple of resources to try. One of which I would see as queen here check. Then this. Yeah, okay. So it's not going to be a checkmate one, I don't think. But how we can sort of force the issue. Queen here check. Pawn comes out here. That's fine. Queen will come in here. That's a check on the king again. And they can only really block. They can either do this, this, or this. But because of this previous move, they've opened up this diagonal. And we can take that rook. I think. Yep, okay. Lovely stuff. Okay. Again, this wouldn't be a puzzle if we didn't have enough to defend, take, everything like that. They do have a very, very nasty discovered check here. So their rook could move anywhere, really. They can move here, and then that'd be check, and this queen wouldn't have time. It'd be a whole thing. So that tells me we need to do checks. Or else take this rook off the board, which I also don't see as being it. Gonna clear the lines here. So, options are... Well, actually, I think this is just mate. Can't go here because it's queen. Can't take the rook because the knight. I think it's just this. My phone! Hello, mother. Not too bad, not too bad. So, where were we? I just had a lovely conversation with my mother. So, you know, feeling inspired by that wisdom. And we'll jump right back into the puzzles. Might take a little sec to click through the gears. But I think this is one that actually I've seen come up in my games quite a lot recently. And again, as soon as that F-pawn moves, just red flags going off. Not red flags, but just your process should kick in and say, okay, that opens up this diagonal to the king. If they're castled already, it'll open up this diagonal. If they're not, this diagonal. It's particularly dangerous when they're not castled. And again, we'll see that we can take advantage of it here. That'll be a queen check. They do have a block. That block is not as nefarious as it looks, because you can come in here with your knight, and this knight again under threat, but again there's just too much. So this knight will take. If they take back, then we take the rook with check, and we can probably even just take the queen at that stage, start to reduce down the material, so that the extra material that we have gotten from that exchange becomes more and more proportionally impactful. Basically, I think you get the concept. But if I am up 1 point of material and there's 30 points of material on the board, that's not that much. If I'm up 2 points of material and there's 9 points of material on the board, that's a huge gap. Anyway, gotta catch my breath. It was a lovely conversation, I have to say, with my mother. But I still don't know if she understands what I'm trying to do here. I still don't know if I do, but we'll crack on. This one, I think queen here. I think there's not much the king can do. King can come here. We can do queen here. And then if king comes here, that's mate. If king comes here, this is mate. They won't be able to get their pieces back in time. I think they'll get one block in here with the bishop. That's okay. And then here, and then here. Lovely stuff. Okay, next one. We have... Right. Okay, so in terms of attacking threats, I'm gonna probably discount either of these pieces for the time being in this puzzle. This rangy bishop, you know, with a move like this, actually, that could be pretty handy. That moves straight away. In a game, I'd probably find it a little tough not to just play that pawn move, f4. Puts pressure on the bishop, unlocks this, my bishop, pressure on black's light square bishop, unlocks my bishop. If bishop takes, we just take with the rook. Also, bishop's got nowhere to go. I don't see anything much better than that at the moment. I was playing with ideas of bishop takes here, if bishop takes, queen comes in here, but then no, I don't think that's it. So I'm gonna do this. Oof! They knew it. They knew what we were about. Alright, black to move. Puzzle 19 again. Pour some out for our first ever personal best, which was 19 when we started doing these videos. And then we got some more. That's good stuff. A little bit of brain fuel. So with this one, there's a fly on my screen, which I did not know my screen could do that, but that's okay. The fly is safe. And speaking of safety, this king looks pretty safe, but he is not. So it's generally, again, just like a mechanics of these two pieces. Rook is again probably a little bit slow in coming. If you do this, it's not that forcing. Again, this rook is more than happy to just sit in. If it gets taken by the queen, then you can do that. But actually, even more forcing is queen takes rook. King will take back, that's fine. We can get a queen, actually with mate, the very next move. So, bish, bosh, bingo, bango. There it is. Anyone still do this thing from secondary school, primary school also? It was a lot of fun doing that thing. Alright, what happened here? Knight took here. Make sure that all still looks good on the old screen. It does. I don't see why I wouldn't just take here. I mean, yeah, I really don't. Rook takes there, that's fine. Probably do this, and then I'll do this. Okay, that was all right. Not a bad one, not a Not an overly difficult puzzle, but a puzzle all the same. This one. So this one, I see pretty much once we get our queen here, that's game over. And I kind of want to do that right away. But, you see here, problem being queen in here, check. However, I think because this is so sort of guaranteed, it's going to take them ages to get out of here. Like in terms of defensive maneuvers, like this back here to go there, it's not going to be quick enough. I think once we can stop the checks after this, which is going to be king here, no more checks after that. If bishop comes here, we just take, or even just take with the knight. I think that's sort of fine. So I think this first, we should have enough time. Okay, like this. Okay, I think they see the trouble coming. They do that. They promote again. Didn't even see that as an option. They do this. Okay. Basically, they just not waste our time, but they muddy the waters with more and more checks until eventually those checks run out and our plan comes to fruition. Now then, boys and girls, what do we have here? I think, and again, look who's talking to. This f-pawn. King's not castled. Immediately looking for something like this, and then another block there is probably the only way to go, and then we get a free bishop across there. That's what I think it is. I don't think there's a great way to stop that. Anything funky we can do here? Not so much. That's fine. Okay, 23. Feeling good, feeling great. Okay. Is this fun? I see a lot of potential. This move. Very nicely, it is a double check, meaning that the check is coming from the bishop in here and the rook in here. Actually quite crucial in this particular maneuver. Generally a double check means the king has to move, because if this rook wasn't there, then that bishop coming across here would be a great defense, because if bishop takes, queen comes across, can start causing all sorts of havoc. Now I think this is it. Let us find out. That's one, and then I think this will win the queen. Yeah, great. And actually, a bit of gravy on top is the mate there. Once the rook has to come off the back rank. That fly is really, he's interested in chess, as he should be. It's a fabulous game. Okay, next one up. 24, definitely getting into the tricky territory here. I quite like this rook. Is fabulous, absolutely fabulous, really making it uncomfortable for the king. And I believe this queen's not bad either. So this is probably going to have to be also pretty feisty check-wise. Yeah, that'll be pretty close to mate, actually. It wouldn't really. It'll be fine. But uncomfortable all the same. I think, in terms of what we have, actually like queen back here, hugely distant check. that's the only square they can go to. And again, can we just make them run out of checks? I think we can take a non-check move here, queen there, to g6, threatening mate in 1 in a couple of different ways. Then I anticipate queen coming in here, in which case we do king here, and they're out of checks. They get one more check here, then we do this, then we do that. Let's find out. I see that as being quite useful. Yeah, that's okay. We didn't have to do that with the king. We could now. Yeah, okay. Blast. Instead of moving the king up a file, we move the rook down because it's now protected by the queen. Sugar. That's okay. That is okay by me. I truly wish it didn't happen though. Was this one? We need to get back in the saddle here. Yeah, we didn't get our PB last week. Funny that that's the first thought that comes to mind. As soon as one goes wrong, you're like, oh, this one is going to be it. But the human brain has all the resilience of a boiled cabbage. And this cabbage, ladies and gentlemen, is not done just yet. See, I quite like takes. Is that, I mean, that's, but they don't have to take here. They can take here. N'est-ce pas? Okay, let's find something bulletproof. And we do have a couple of checks available. So do they. Okay, I think takes. And if takes here instead, then this would be a fork. So I do think takes here would be their only response. If takes there, that would win the bishop. It's a piece. It's also giving them a pass pawn, but we do have probably enough to defend that. Okay. Okay. Back in the saddle. No hiding place from here on out. I would wager it's just this. Pawn to e4. That's a fork, essentially. Again, our knight is still in trouble, but that's okay because the threat level on their queen is higher than the one on our rook or knight. Probably called it a rook just there. Maybe it didn't. We'll find out in the editing process. So I think it's these, and then Yeah, queen move. And then if we take, that'll come with check too. Check. Now we just want to get this knight safe. Working on my knight safe. This is really the only square that is safe. But no, because let's move him somewhere that won't count. Because now you've got rook across here, which you don't really want to face up to. So I think it's actually going to be this. Queen here, check. Queen would have to take. Pawn can take with more check. King takes there. I think that's it. Okay. Pawn take with check, I think, is what we want. Great. Okay. That's some chess. That's some literal chess you've just seen. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And speaking of chess, here we go with some more chess. Material wise, we are down a rook and a knight. We do have 2 more pawns, 3 more pawns, 2 more pawns. Looking at what this queen can do, I do quite like, even though it's very risky, I do quite like queen up here, threatening mate next move with this. No way for them to really block that in a good way. As a defense, they could do knight up here, in which case we do this. Queen could then come here for check. We come up here, there's no counter check. So despite what it'll do weakening wise, I think this is going to be okay. Say a little prayer. This is fine, this is fine, this too is fine, this is fine, it's all fine, it's all gravy. Groovy, baby. Let's be having you. Knight and bishop pretty locked in. I'm going to discount them for the time being, as the time being requests. I kind of like queen here for check. What about actually, now that you mention it, chat, queen there check is fine, but it's only really. You just move across there. Not a huge pile of trouble. I quite actually like queen takes rook, which is lovely. Pretty much the only good move there would be bishop takes queen. They could move the king, but they shouldn't. After bishop takes queen, rook takes bishop. King is now in check, has to advance. Can't go back here. Has to advance onto either of these squares, at which point rook here will win the queen. So then we get a rook, a bishop, and a queen for our queen and our rook. Always so scary sacrificing your queen like that, and then they just come up with some defensive resource that you haven't seen, and then you're down a queen. In this case, that's not what happened. Whew. Okay. Once more, we find ourselves down material. Peril. Peril is coming very fast for this, for black's position here. It's actually mate in 1 unless we do checks every single move of the way. Which I imagine we can. I imagine they wouldn't have made the puzzle if that wasn't possible. Okay, really know where to go for this king, so I'm not going to do a slow move, or, I mean, like here would be okay, but not okay. It would be temporary relief. They'd have another queen if they wanted. They would probably no, I think it's something more attacking. So checks we have are this, which would lead to either here, which would be nice, or here, which we do have another check for. So yeah, I think it might be knight there. Mainly because knight here gets taken, and then there's no great immediate check right after that, which again I think it does need to be. Yeah, this is mate. And sorry, yeah, if the king did go here, they would still only be here when the queen arrived. Bang, bang, it's game over. So, knight here. Let's walk through this scenario. And again, when we get towards these latter stages of puzzles, if those of you have had the stamina to make it this far, you'll know that we like to spend a bit more time on these. Other checks we have are pawn here, but again after rook there. Not so much. That's where my brain's at. I do see knight here as just the most forcing, and some interesting stuff coming from after that. King here, knight here, or maybe here. That's not check. Actually, okay. I'm gonna commit to knight here. I think these guys might come into it eventually. Perhaps not. I was not confident on that at all. I was. Hoo-wee. Yes, sirree, Bob. Okay, now our only check from here on out, which does simplify this a little bit, is knight here. But then why do we... Oh, I suppose it's a little different. Okay, yeah, it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Yeah, that's right. There's no other checks that we have available other than knight here. Okay, king there. We anticipated this. We know this. And now checks. Ooh, is that going to be enough? So I see knight here is a fork on the king and the queen. But we do still have to grapple with the fact that there's too much pressure coming there. That is still a check. I also quite like this. Which would force the king here. which allows us to get our bishop into things there, which also frees up this rook for something like that. So that looks a little bit more promising. Oh. Okay, that was full throttle. I really wanted to get that right, and we did. Okay, it's a race. So it's our move. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 to a queen. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 to a queen. Neither of those queens come with check. I do prefer having ours first. This king isn't gonna catch because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Nah, this king can just box him out. I'm just gonna run. Oh! I think I should have taken. And then you have the pawn on the edge of the board. Maybe that diagonal does something. Blast. Okay. We've been in worse spots. Again, an endgame one. These tricky endgame ones. Once more, can't really see past this. 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 Maybe that. And we just sort of have to start running, I think. These ones are very precise, I think, and we're just not playing precisely, and that's going to wrap it up for today. It's a disaster on Saturday in Monte Carlo. Yeah, no, Mercedes not happy at all with that. Yep, that's not good enough. We're going to stick it up anyway. Listen. They can't all be sunshine and rainbows. This one certainly wasn't. 2 here where we immediately saw the right path, which was frustrating. Yeah, we did. Let's play this puzzle. This one again, we did this, which was fine. This, which was great. This, jumped the gun. Didn't need to do any of this. Just that is fine. This is fine. Okay, that was one. Look, we've learned from it. We've gotten better. We've had a good time. Stuff this one. This one I'm not so sure of. I think we just tried to leg it, but what does doing this instead mean? I mean, from here, oh yes, then you can do a check like this, you can take that queen, and now you're way ahead. Are you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you just start running. Okay, that's another one. Often actually pretty instructive. I think the further towards the edge of the board pawns that you can get past, generally if you're putting a bet or if you're backing a pawn to get to the other side, away from the center, obviously easier, just it takes longer for pieces to get there, particularly the king and knights and stuff. So yeah, that one. And our final one, just after we said we needed to be precise with this, we weren't. I think maybe we just start the race here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But ours comes with check. Yeah, it's just this. Oh, achievable. All of those were achievable. But listen, chess isn't, you don't always win in chess. So, a lesson in and of itself. 29. Again, previous weeks, previous iterations of ourselves would have been happy with that. It's a sign of the progress that we're not happy with that. We can push further on, but I think we covered some good concepts today. Well, maybe it'll make it a little bit shorter this week. Maybe not though. But that's okay. If you have made it this far, consider subscribing to the channel. We're getting a nice community going. Follow us on Instagram if you're on there. Stick up daily puzzles and stuff on there. But yeah, appreciate you sticking around, appreciate you coming by. Let me know your thoughts, let me know what kind of content you want to see, and I'll be happy to build that out. But for now, it's been Puzzles and Chill from Chess Please. Take care and have a wonderful week, and I mean it.